Suppose there is a change in the product line. So whatever raw material you have brought for the old product, that will not be of use for now. When you have a mixture of the scrap, try to segregate all the scrap and try to see that you just dispose it off in each one in a different way. There we all know that the resources are scarce, and whatever money we have invested in the stock, that should be put to the best possible use. Hello everyone, I am Purnima, faculty in the Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. I welcome you all to this session 3 on Unit 5, that is Maintenance and Waste Management. Now in this session 3, we will be discussing about new scientific techniques of management. So what are the latest scientific techniques of management? Here in this, the first one is just-in-time manufacturing, or we always also call it as the JIT, just-in-time manufacturing. Second one is the lean manufacturing. Third one is Kaizen or Six Sigma. Then we have the Six Sigma, and then we have the operations research. Now, let us understand what is the meaning of just-in-time manufacturing. So, it is a strategy of inventory management which is concerned with reducing the stock of work in progress and its associated costs, and thus improving the return on investment. So, just-in-time technology means it is a kind of inventory management where we will be ordering a fresh issue of raw materials just at the time when the old supply of raw materials is getting to be over. So, we'll ensure that they come just in time, as and when the old supply of stock of raw materials is getting over, a fresh supply of raw materials will come just in time. So, this technique of inventory management is called as just-in-time technology, and this will help in savings to the company. Now, what are the savings it will help? First thing is savings in the stock. You need not have a stock of goods. Second one is you need not invest lot of money in having a stock of goods. And third one is you need not maintain an inventory of the stock of goods. And fourthly, all the clerical work relating to the stock of goods will be reduced when you have this just-in-time technology. So, as and when the goods get over, you just see that you arrange for the fresh supply of goods, and in this way the production does not stop, but your money, whatever you have to invest, so it will be there with you and you can make use of it immediately. So, this is the idea behind the just-in-time technology. So, this improving it will help in improving the return on investment. So, your fund will not get locked up in the stock, and whatever money you have invested, it will be directly going into the production house, and within a few months you will be getting the output also, and which will go directly to the sales. So, in this way you are not locking up your funds for the stock, and as a result of which you will be earning a heavy return on the investment. So, Kanban or visual signs are used to implement this strategy. So, this strategy to make effective use of this just-in-time strategy, we make use of this Kanban. So, Kanban provides the information regarding replenishment of requirement of production level. So, with the help of Kanban, we will be able to know when exactly we have to order the goods and how the goods are to be ordered, and when it has to be reached, when it should reach the production house. So, this is one important method of inventory management which is used by most of the production houses. Then the second type of scientific method is the lean manufacturing. So, what is lean manufacturing? It is a philosophy of management which is concerned with reducing the 7 wastes. So, in lean manufacturing, we are reducing the 7 wastes of production. What are the 7 wastes of production? First one is waste of overproduction. See, whatever is the given target, you just produce that given target and keep quiet. So if you are overproducing the goods and if the goods are not sold, that will be a waste. So we have to reduce that. So waste of overproduction. Second one is waiting time. So you need not wait. The stock need not wait. The machinery need not wait. Human resources need not wait. So there will be absolutely no waiting time here in lean manufacturing. Then next one is the cost of transportation. So try to reduce as much as possible the cost of transportation. Next one is the processing time. So what is the processing time? Try to keep it as minimum as possible. Then next one is motion. So whether it is the motion of the goods, motion of the men, motion of the materials, so everything has to be kept to the minimal level. Then inventory. So ensure that there is no wastage of any inventory which is there in the organization. Then next one is scrap of any type. So see that we don't have any scraps of any type during the production process. So these are the 7 ways of production which should be avoided in lean manufacturing. So this results in improvement of quality and reduction in production cost and time. So when you just reduce all this, it will automatically improve the quality of the product and it will also help in reduction of production cost and time. So when the production cost and time reduces, it will automatically give us a good return on our investment. Then the third kind of scientific method is the Kaizen. Now what is Kaizen? It is a Japanese word which means improvement or change for better. So you are changing for the better. Thus, it is concerned with improvement in productivity. So Kaizen is concerned with improvement in productivity. The main objective of Kaizen is to eliminate waste, standardize work, just-in-time delivery, right size of equipment, fast moving lines, etc. So the main objective of Kaizen is to eliminate the waste. So whatever is waste, keep the waste as minimum as possible. Then standardize the work. So use standard tools, standard equipments and standard way of doing all the work. Then just in time delivery, that is, see that the materials are delivered just in time. Then right size equipment. So whatever equipments are used, they are of the right size. Then fast moving lines, that is, see that there is a line of production is fast moving. So all this will help in Kaizen. So Kaizen is nothing but change for the better. Try to just study each and every aspect of the production and then try to think of what are the changes we can be made so that we can have a better production. Then it is a routine activity which eliminates both mental and physical hard work and humanizes workplace. So it eliminates physical hard work and humanizes workspace. It teaches people how to perform rapid experiments using scientific methods and eliminate waste in different business activities. So it is through observance. You keep on observing how the people are doing the job and just think about the various methods, how better they can do each of the job. So it teaches people how to perform the rapid experiment. So how rapid experiments can be performed using scientific methods, and we will reduce the waste and in all the different activities. So whatever the waste which are being going on, so all that has to be reduced and we have better motion methods. So in this way, Kaizen means improvement or change for the better. That is improvement of the production activities, improvement in all aspects of the organization. Then Six Sigma. Now what is this Six Sigma? It is a data-driven approach which helps an organization in reducing inefficiencies, in saving time and money by reducing quality variations. So Six Sigma is a data-driven approach. So what is this data-driven approach? It helps an organization to reduce inefficiency. So we have to ensure that there is efficient utilization of all the resources involved in the organization, whether it is the human resource, financial resource, time, materials, human labor, everything has to be made to the maximum use, that is optimum utilization of all the resources, and in saving time and money by reducing quality variations. Now, what is this quality variation? Ensure that whatever goods are produced are meeting the standards. So, what is the standard quality prescribed by the management, and see that whatever your output is, it is meeting the standards. See that there is no quality variation in the product. So in this way, you can save time on the inspection of goods and also the approval. So Six Sigma is a data-driven approach wherein it helps an organization to reduce the inefficiencies in the organization. Then the last one is the operations research. So this technique was developed during the Second World War to optimize the deployment of war material using different tools, that is program evaluation and review techniques, CPM, that is the critical path method, linear programming, etc. Cost overrun and or time overrun can be avoided during execution of any project. So operations research, it was first developed during the Second World War for the deployment of war material. So whatever the arms and ammunitions had to be sent to at the site of the war. So it was during that time this technique was developed. So in this technique we use different terms, that is different tools, that is the PERT, that is program evaluation review technique. So what is the program? Well, you have to evaluate the program and then have a review, and that is the program evaluation review technique. And the second one is the critical path method. So in the critical path method, we will be just thinking about the critical areas or the key result areas wherein you have to focus on in order to see that there are no deviations from the plans, and linear programming. So with the help of these techniques, we'll try to reduce we will be reducing the cost overrun, and time overrun can be avoided during the execution of any project, and we also ensure that all the projects meet the deadline. Then next one is waste management, scrap and surplus disposal. So waste management plays an important role in managing the operations. It can be classified as obsolete, scrap and surplus items. So this waste management, how do we just dispose of the scrap and the surplus? So the waste can be classified into three aspects. The one is the obsolete items, second one is the scrap items, third one is the surplus items. Now what do we mean by obsolete items? These are those materials and equipments which are not damaged and which have economic worth but which are no longer useful for the company's operation owing to many reasons such as changes in product line, process, materials and so on. So obsolete items, so they are those equipments which are not damaged but which have economic worth, but they are not useful for the company's operations. Why they are not useful? Because of the changes in the product line. Suppose there is a change in the product line, so whatever raw material you have brought for the old product, that will not be of use for now. The next one is that if there is a change in the process, there is a change in the materials, etc. So when there are changes in or because of these three reasons, the whatever raw material stock we have purchased, that will be a waste. So it will have value but will be of no use to the company's production line. Then second one is the surplus items. Now what do we mean by surplus items? They are those materials and equipments which have no immediate use but have accumulated due to faulty planning, forecasting, and purchasing. So surplus items means they which have no immediate use, but they are accumulated due to faulty planning, forecasting, and purchasing. So because of the fault in the plans, so these materials would have been accumulated. Then forecasting and purchasing. So because of faulty forecasting and purchasing, so there are some items which cannot be used by the production house. So such items are called as the surplus items. However, they have a usage value in future. So they will be lying in the godown where it can be put for future use. Then the last one is the scrap. So it is defined as a process wastage such as turnings, borings, spares, and flashes. They may have an end use within the plant having commercial values, hence should be disposed of periodically. Scrap is the process wastage. So during the process of manufacturing, there will be certain wastages. So that is the turnings. So when you are manufacturing the screws, the turnings of the screws, the borings, spares, flashes, they may have an end use within the plant having commercial values. They had to be disposed of periodically. Then the disposal of scrap, surplus, and obsolete materials. So how do you dispose of the scrap materials and the obsolete materials? The disposal of scrap, when handled in an imaginative manner, can result in handsome returns to the organization. So the disposal of scrap is very easy and it will fetch returns to the company when it is handled in a very good way. An effective disposal requires a compact disposal organization reporting to the materials manager, continuous market survey on the prices of various categories of scrap generated in the plant, and constant touch with the industries which generate scrap and with the end users. So with the help of the materials manager, so you should have a constant survey of whatever is the waste which is being arising from the production house. So you keep in touch with the materials manager, and you also have a market survey of the prices of various categories of scrap generated in the plant. So you also have a communication with with all those organizations which produce the similar waste. So in this way, you will know exactly what is the value of the waste which will be produced in the organization. Then disposal action follows when the scrap cannot be utilized within the organization. In practice, it has been found that it is profitable to dispose the scrap directly to the end users rather than to middlemen who normally form a cartel of their own, which leads to lower returns. So when do you dispose of the waste? So the disposal of the waste will be done only when the items, whatever is coming out as the waste, it cannot be used by the same organization. So whenever you are planning to dispose of the waste, try to see that you dispose it to the end users rather than giving it to the middlemen, because these middlemen are there to just earn higher profits. So as a result of which, the returns to the company will be low. So before disposal action, it is essential that the scrap is segregated according to the metal, size, etc. When the scrap is mixed, the return is even lower than the lowest element in the mixture. So when you have a mixture of the scrap, try to segregate all the scrap and try to see that you just dispose it off in each one in a different way. So when you see, if you are just disposing of the scrap in a mixed way, then what happens is you will get a return, or the value of the scrap will be the value of the metal which is the lowest in that mixture. So this is because the buyer of scrap will have to segregate it at an extra cost. So when you are trying to just sell off the scrap, the entire mixture without segregating, then the buyer will have to segregate it with an extra cost so that your returns will be lower. So if you want to have high returns, try to see that you segregate the scrap well and then you dispose it off. A cursor analysis of scrap prices will reveal that sheet and plate cuttings will fetch fewer amounts per a ton compared to that of turnings and borings. Also, when costly scraps such as copper, aluminium and tungsten are involved, it is imperative that they are segregated as returns are huge and price levels are different. So, when we have a cursor analysis of the scrap prices of different materials, we find that whatever the scrap coming out of the turnings and borings, they are more. So the value of them is more rather than the metal sheet and the plate cuttings. So whenever there is a scrap of the copper, aluminium and tungsten are involved, so it is always better to segregate the waste and then sell it, as there will be a huge price difference between these metals. Since scrap is generated process wise, it comes out in a segregated condition and there should be no difficulty sorting. So whenever there is a production, so whenever scrap comes out, you have to see that as soon as it comes out, it is segregated then and there itself, so that you need not have any more problems in segregating the scrap. Then the next one is auction and tender method. So what do we mean by auction and tender method? So they are frequently used for disposal of scrap. Parties in both the cases are normally required to inspect the scrap in the scrap yard and deposit earnest money. So in the auction and tender method, so the persons who are interested in buying the scrap, they will have to deposit some earnest money and they can go and have an inspection of the scrap which will be there in the godown. Very often the company insists on a basic price depending upon the category of the scrap. The disposal section works in this aspect in close coordination with the finance department. So in this auction, there will be a bid for the scrap material, and in this the company will fix a minimum price for the scrap, and over and above that, whoever is the highest bidder, so he can purchase the scrap. So in this way, the disposal section has to work closely with the finance department. In many cases, the disposal section may try to enter into a long-term contract with end users such as the steel plants. So sometimes you can have a long-term contract with the steel plants so that they will be able to just purchase the scrap as and when it arises from the production house, so that you can save on time, cost and labor of the auction and the tender method. So many companies have found to their displeasures scrap components appearing in the market and competing with their parts as original equipment. Now sometimes, so whatever the items which have been rejected by the company, they just find their way to the market as the original equipment. So they will be competing with the actual products of the company. So this will cause displeasure to the company management. This is the price which organizations pay for not dismantling and disfiguring the scrap before disposal. So whenever there is scrap for disposal, it should be dismantled and disfigured before it is disposed. So if you are disposing it as it is, then it may compete with the original products of the company. Automobile spare parts and bearings especially are prone to such dangers. So automobile spare parts and bearings, usually they will be just passed away as the original products of that company. For this purpose, some organizations go to the extent of requesting vehicle users to demolish filters and plugs before scrapping them. This is a very important aspect. So to avoid all these confusions, etc., some of the companies, they will request the vehicle owners to demolish the filters and the plugs before scrapping them. Then the next one is, in view of paucity of raw materials and shortage of credit, it is necessary that optimum usage of materials is made and fines tied up in obsolete, surplus and scrap items minimized. So there we all know that the resources are scarce, and whatever money we have invested in the stock, that should be put to the best possible use. So try as far as possible, try not to have obsolete, surplus and the scrap items. So we should see that they are as far as possible minimized. So this is only possible when top management shows commitment and the support. So when the top management shows commitment and support, this can be possible. The employees of the organizations are naturally best people to suggest improvement in materials, processes and new end users for the scrap. So the employees of the organization, they will suggest improvement in materials, processes and new end users for the scrap. It is they who can minimize the accumulation of scrap through coordination. So if there is a coordination between the employees and the scrap disposal department, so we can see that we can ensure better returns for the organization through the disposal of the scrap. Therefore, top management should work out formal reward systems to promote employee participation in this matter. So if an employee gives a better return to the organization through the system of waste disposal, so it will call for a reward. So if the employee is properly rewarded, it will be an encouraging factor for him to go ahead. So next time whenever there is a scrap, so he will involve himself and get better returns for the company. A few organizations have suggestion box schemes which pay rich dividends to the organization. So some few organizations, they are trying the suggestion box scheme wherein employees suggestions are invited, and if they are very valid and practical, so those suggestions are utilized for the benefit of the organization. Employees to get rewards and recognition in the process. So the employees also will get rewards and recognition in the process. Now, the next part is, what are the reasons for the accumulation of waste? So changes in the product design. The first reason is when there is a change in the product design. It may lead to some items getting invalid so far as the final product is concerned. So the entire stock of such items are surplus, obsolete. So if there is a change in the design of the product, so this may result in the getting some items invalid. Some of the items may become invalid, and such items are called as the surplus, obsolete items. Then the second one is rationalization. Now what is this rationalization? Sometimes raw materials are rationalized so as to minimize variety and simplify the procurement. Try to see that whatever raw materials you are supplying to the production house, they are put to the minimal, and in this way it renders some items as the surplus or obsolete. Third one is cannibalization. Now what is this cannibalization? When a machine breakdown occurs, sometimes it is rectified using parts of an identical machine which is not functioning due to various reasons. Now, if there is a breakdown in one of the machines, then we will be making use of the parts of a machine which has already broken down. So that machines of that old machine, parts of the old machine will be taken and to set right this new machine. So this process of cannibalization is not uncommon in many project-based industries. When continued unchecked, this results in obsolete and scrap items. So this process of removing the spare parts from an old machine and inserting it into a new machine, this is called as cannibalization, and this should be avoided as far as possible, because if we keep on doing this, it will result in obsolete and scrap items. So they will become more and more. Then the next one is faulty planning and forecasting. So the marketing department may have projected a sales forecast which might be on the higher side. Any material planning has to be based on sales forecast, and this could result in surplus items. So because of faulty planning, so how do we plan for the production house? It will be always based on the sales forecast. Now, if the sales forecast shows a figure which is very high, then the materials manager also has to ensure that forecast, in order to meet the forecast, we have to have the proper quantity of raw materials also. So when he places a huge order of raw material based on the sales forecast, so that will result in faulty planning and forecasting. Wrong indenting by the user departments also leads to accumulation. So when the order placed is wrong, then it will also lead to accumulation. Then next one is faulty purchase practices. Now what are the faulty purchase practices? Suboptimizing decisions like buying in bulk to take care of discounts and transportation economy without taking into account factors such as the shelf life, storage space requirements, and technological changes once again lead to accumulation of surplus and obsolete stock. So what is this faulty purchase practices? So faulty purchase practices means some organizations resort to bulk purchase. So why? Because they want to save on the price of the goods. Second one is they want to save on the transportation of goods. So in order to take care of the discount and transportation, and they will not look after, they will not consider the shelf life of the product, storage space requirement, and technological changes. So all these will lead to accumulation of surplus and obsolete waste in the organization. Then other causes. So many items are held as insurable spares for many years without any consumption. Faulty storekeeping methods without adequate preservation lead to spoilage. So other causes are, there are insurable spares for many years without any, simply for the spare, for the sake of keeping such spares, they will be kept in the stock and they will not be used for many years. And because of faulty storekeeping methods without adequate preservation, they will all lead to the spoilage of the material. Inferior materials handling, improper codification, and poor manufacturing methods also result in obsolete, surplus, and scrap items. So, poor maintenance of machine tools may result in excessive tools wear and greater process scrap. So other causes are, so you are not handling the materials well. So when you are not handling the materials well, and improper codification, so you don't codify the material, poor manufacturing methods, so all this will result in obsolete, surplus, and the scrap items. Poor maintenance of machine tools also may result in excessive tools wear and greater process scrap. So these are the various reasons for the generation and accumulation of waste. So with this, we come to the end of this session, that is chapter 5. Hope you have all followed it. Thank you.